Studios.
आज हमारे साथ एक ऐसे मेहमान जुड़ रहे हैं जो किसी इंट्रोडक्शन की मोहताज नहीं। ये एक प्रोड्यूसर हैं, एक एक्टर हैं, एक राइटर हैं, एक एंटरप्रेन्योर हैं और कई बड़े फैशन लेबल्स के लिए रैंप वॉक तक कर चुके हैं। ये इंडिया के एक जाने माने शेफ हैं। तो आइए करते हैं चाय भरी चर्चा अपने शुद्ध देसी मेहमान शेफ रणवीर ब्रार के साथ। Hi Ranveer bhai, welcome on the show.
Thank you very much, Ji. Thank you, Himannshu Ji. Thank you, Chef Harpal. Pleasure.
Thank you so
रणवीर,
much.
जब आप अपने करियर का डिसीजन ले रहे थे उस एज में, आज भी बहुत लोगों को नहीं पता होता कि क्या करना सही है और इतनी कम एज में आपने एक डिसीजन भी ले लिया था। तो उस एज में आपने शेफ बनने का कैसे सोचा?
सर वो ऑप्शन जब हम पढ़ के निकलते थे तो ऑप्शन बड़े कम होते थे और
होते ही नहीं थे इनफैक्ट।
हाँ, तो यहाँ तो आप डॉक्टर बन जाते थे, इंजीनियर बन जाते थे, या फिर घर वाले बोलते थे चलो कोई बात नहीं, 12वीं के बाद कुछ नहीं हुआ, ग्रेजुएशन के बाद यूपीएससी में ट्राई कर लेना, नालायक हो गए तो बैंक पीओ तो मिल ही जाएगा। तो ये these were the standard options of a small town kid growing up in the 80s. तो मेरे को इनमें से कोई भी ऑप्शन पसंद नहीं आया। So I decided that because I don't like any of these options, I'm going to create an option, and that's how it
और
was.
मैंने कहीं पढ़ा था कि आपने 15 साल की एज में ये डिसीजन ले लिया था और कहीं आपने बताया भी था कि आपने सबसे पहले कबाब बनाना शुरू किया था, आई गेस।
Right, but क्या होता है कि I think Chef Harpal will agree कि ये संडे गुरुद्वारा कल्चर जो है ना, ये बड़ा कंपलसरी होता है इन सिख, एंड द elders will always take the youngest of the family. अभी भी आज की डेट में भी माय फादर टेक्स माय सन, एंड दैट्स इट्स अ कल्चर इन आवर होम्स के दादा पोता जो है गुरुद्वारे जरूर जाएंगे। तो फॉर मी दिस होल रिलेशनशिप विद फूड स्टार्टेड मच अर्लियर, बट इन अ गुरुद्वारा किड्स रियली डोंट हैव मच टू डू। आपने मत्था टेक लिया, उसके बाद आपको बच्चों को घूमने नहीं देते, तो वो ज्यादातर बच्चे वहीं जाके बैठ जाते हैं जहाँ पे एक्शन होता है, which is where the langar is. So I got introduced typically to the langar because that was the only place where the action was when my grandfather used to drag me to the gurdwara. But उस समय तक ये नहीं सोचा था कि ये यही करना है लाइफ में, this is what I want to do. It was only when I was like 17, that's when the resolve became stronger. कि I would say 17 is when I actually decided कि नहीं, it is not just a good thing to do, this is something you can do for the rest of your life. अपनी जिंदगी भर के लिए कर सकते हैं ये। तो वहां पर I think was the turning point was the city. लखनऊ जो शहर है ना, वो मतलब उसमें खाने के लिए इतनी मोहब्बत है, वो इन्फेक्शियस है। इट इज इन्फेक्शियस, इट गेट्स टू यू, यू रियलाइज कि यार ये खाना बनाना ना सिर्फ एक काम नहीं है, मतलब इसे तो बड़े मजे की चीज है ये, and that's what got to me.
Fantastic. Chef, I'm sure I come from a small town and I so very much agree with you on this. The options definitely are very less. But I'm sure, I also had a dream before becoming a chef. So, if you're not a chef, Ranveer, what would be the option you thought that you could be one?
So, ma'am, I would probably have been a poet or a photographer.
Wow. Passionate things, attached to no wonder it reflects in your cooking and when we see you on television.
लेकिन रणवीर, मैंने कहीं पढ़ा है कि आपने एक्टिंग का भी कोर्स किया है।
हाँ सर, मतलब वो कोर्स तो क्या किया था सर, आई एम फॉन्ड ऑफ फिल्म मेकिंग। मुझे अच्छा लगता है छोटे छोटे शॉर्ट फिल्म्स बनाना, फिल्म मेकिंग करना, और मैं उस क्राफ्ट में अगर पढ़ा हूँ तो आई फील आई हैव टू रिस्पेक्ट इट। सो आई हैव डन अ शॉर्ट एडिटिंग कोर्स फ्रॉम न्यूयॉर्क फिल्म अकेडमी, एंड आई हैव डन अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ एक थिएटर वर्कशॉप मैंने करी है पौंडीचेरी के पास, आदिशक्ति करके हैं, बहुत ही काबिल लोग हैं, उनके साथ मैंने एक 12 दिन की थिएटर वर्कशॉप करी, बट primarily just as respect to the medium that has given me so much, not that there's more to it.
रणवीर, मुझे एक बात बताएं, यू आर अ वंडरफुल शेफ। उसके अलावा आपने एक्टिंग सीखी है, आप थिएटर कर चुके हैं, आप रैंप वॉक कर चुके हैं, कई बड़े फैशन लेबल्स के लिए, वो भी आप शॉर्ट फिल्म्स बना रहे हैं, आप एक सक्सेसफुल एंटरप्रेन्योर हैं। तो अगर आप शेफ नहीं होते तो विच इज द नेक्स्ट थिंग दैट यू लव टू डू द मोस्ट?
Like I said, Jim, I love writing, I love expression, मेरे लिए बहुत की है एज एन इंडिविजुअल। मेरे लिए एक्सप्रेशन जो है वो बहुत की है। अगर मैं कुछ कह ना पाऊँ ना, चाहे वो खाने के ज़रिए है या टेलीविज़न के ज़रिए है या फिर लिखने के ज़रिए है, तो देन आई गेट बॉटल्ड अप। मेरे लिए एक्सप्रेशन बहुत की है। तो मुझे मीडियम्स टू एक्सप्रेस माई सेल्फ आर समथिंग दैट आर वेरी वेरी क्लोज टू माई हार्ट। और खाना इज एन एक्सप्रेशन ना, आप खाने के जरिए अपनी बात कह लेते हैं। और खाने के जरिए कही गई बात, द रीजन फूड इज व्हाट इट इज फॉर मी पर्सनली इज बिकॉज सबसे ज्यादा छूती है खाने के जरिए की हुई बात, बिकॉज इट्स द ओनली expression that touches all the senses.
Right. I mean, I'm sure we all agree. Himanshu, you would also agree that,
100%.
sometimes,
100%.
yeah, sometimes you break up the silence amongst friends with food conversations, and nothing better than that. And then the whole thing revolves around food. I'm sure. Chef, also, I mean, since we are amongst the first few people, do you miss hotels by any chance?
नहीं शेफ, मैं ना मेरी द ओनली थिंग दैट आई फील ब्लेस्ड अबाउट इज हैविंग अ गोल्डफिश मेमोरी। मुझे 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 सुबह नाश्ते में क्या खाया वो याद नहीं रहता। So a lot of times chefs come to me and tell me that I hired them. People who are corporate chefs now, they come and tell me that I hired them as a CDP when I was a chef. I don't even remember. And I feel bad, but I just feel chef के आई रिवर होटल्स। और मुझे ये लगता है कि होटल से ज्यादा आपको खाने की जो मैकेनिक्स और साइंस है और जो डिटेल है और जो गधा मजदूरी है जो खाने के साथ जरूरी है, वो आपसे कोई नहीं करवा सकता। आई रिवर द रोल ऑफ होटल्स, बट आई डोंट मिस इट। आई लुक फॉरवर्ड टू सो मच मोर। मतलब वो पंजाबियों की तरह बेशर्मी वाला काम है कि पीछे देखना ही नहीं मुड़ के, ये सोच के चलना है कि पीछे पीछे इतने गड्ढे खोदे हुए हमने कि हम ही गिर जाएंगे।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सही है, बिल्कुल। आई थिंक, आई मीन, इट्स ऑल्सो द फैक्ट दैट if you have to move on, you have to, I mean, keep forgetting, or not keep forgetting, actually keep those memories behind, and you need to create new things for yourself. And I am sure you've been doing fantastic work around things that keep you excited in whatever you are doing right now.
बट वी ऑल ऑफ अस अग्री ना शेफ के, मतलब अगर होटल्स नहीं होते तो हम लोग शायद वो शेफ नहीं होते जो जो हम हैं। एक
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
the hotels sort of round you up. A restaurants cannot round you up like that. A
Absolutely
hotel, you get bored with Chinese. You in the break you spend 2 hours in the Indian kitchen. They are more than happy. प्याज छीलने वाला मिल गया है, you know.
correct.
But then if you get bored of Indian, you jump to the soup kitchen. You come 2 hours early. There is always some section that is working. तो वो चीज जो है मुझे लगता है, और मैं सबको यही सजेस्ट करता हूँ कि if in a kitchen, it's very important to work with hotels at some point in time in your life.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. It's got a lot of vibrancy around in a hotel. You get so much more to do. You have New Year's coming, so you can probably go and do some butter sculptures, or you go to the cold kitchen. Your festivals coming, so you can always go and help. So there's no international chefs coming in. You can always go and help. और होटलों में ये बात तो हमने देखी है रणवीर की, गधा मजदूरी की बहुत जरूरत होती है. People are more than happy to have people working around them.
Absolutely.
And don't you feel that working in a hotel environment is a little bit easier than starting your own restaurant?
I think, Chef, I think it is. It works both ways. So in a hotel, it's easy to get lost also, and it's easy to make a mark also. And that's what I feel, because होटल में 500 एम्प्लॉइज हैं, एक अंडर परफॉर्मिंग एम्प्लॉय जो है उसके नजरअंदाज हो जाने के चांसेस भी ज्यादा हैं। और लेकिन बिकॉज 500 एम्प्लॉइज हैं तो अपॉर्चुनिटीज भी आपके पास बहुत ज्यादा है। आई थिंक इट्स अ विज वी सॉर्ट ऑफ अ सिचुएशन, दैट्स हाउ आई लुक एट इट। what I feel is the you know big places and small places, you need to have a balance between working in huge places and working in micromanaged small places.
And now you also have experience of running a restaurant, and even your first restaurant, in your words, was a disaster because it got closed down in 1.5 years. So जब
जी
कोई शेफ एक ऐसा डिसीजन लेता है कि जॉब छोड़कर दे वांट टू एस्टैब्लिश देयर ओन वेंचर, then what are the suggestions that you give to such individuals, that how should they venture into something of their own?
See, I think मेरा पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस ये है, एंड आई एम प्रीटी श्योर शेफ हरपाल विल एग्री टू इट, कि हम लोग ना एज शेफ्स वी गेट वेरी अटैच्ड टू द प्रोडक्ट. हम लोग बहुत ज्यादा प्रोडक्ट फर्स्ट हो जाते हैं. And sometimes you need to unlearn and understand that it is not about giving the best product, it's about giving the right product. So if you're charging 2 rupees because your client is going to pay 2 rupees, you cannot give him a product for 5 rupees. I think the biggest change that chefs need to make when they become entrepreneurs is disconnect from the product and understand that it's not about the perfect or the best product, it's about the right product for the right consumer. What is best for the right consumer at that price is something that all of us sort of fall flat on. We want to do our best because we are so much in love with the product. So that shift from love for product versus understanding of business or finding that balance is the biggest unlearning and relearning that a chef needs to do when he decides to be an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. I mean, very well said. I think most chefs who are turning entrepreneurs are passing through this right now in India. I definitely would agree on it. You know, that's a challenge we all face, Himanshu. I mean, when it comes to becoming entrepreneurs, the disengagement with
which is across
yes,
industry, I must say.
yes. So that kind of is a challenge, and we're passionate people. Actually, all chefs are passionate people and hold everything close to the heart. You know.
Yeah.
So, Ranveer, coming back to again one question which always hits my mind right now is like, you know, in today's world, everybody wants the short-term fame to be what probably you are as a celebrity chef and attach that title. I'm sure you must have heard this many times that chef, what should I do to become a celebrity chef? So, what is your what is your take on it? Like,
I always, I always give them the example of a साबुन की बट्टी chef.
ah,
मैं उनको बोलता हूँ कभी कपड़े धोने वाला साबुन देखा है तुमने? मतलब मैंने कहा मैं ना कपड़े धोने वाला साबुन हूँ, ठीक है? अब किसी ने चमका चुमकू के और एक चांदी के पैकेट में डाल दिया तो तुमको लग रहा है यार ये तो बड़ा अच्छा है. तुमको ये नहीं पता कि इसकी जर्नी शुरू कहाँ से हुई थी. You're only seeing a final product on a shelf. And you don't, unless you respect the journey, you cannot respect the product. So if you don't respect the fact that I was cooking silently for 17 years without facing any camera, you will never understand what it means to close your eyes and chop onions or close your eyes and make a dish. And I think it's very important for people to respect the process. कि ये जो साबुन की बट्टी यहाँ पड़ी है ये एक साबुन की बट्टी है. ये ऐसे ही नहीं थी. एक टाइम पे it started from somewhere, it got packaged and put on a shelf. To get on a shelf, you don't land up on a shelf. You have to have a journey. It's like picking up a packet of atta. That atta was never atta because it's in a glossy packet. It was grown somewhere, it was harvested somewhere, it was sown somewhere, it was threshed somewhere, it was dried somewhere. You know what I mean? I think people need to understand that there's a process to creation of any product, and we are all but product. Celebrity chef is all but a product that is out there on a shelf, and you get to choose from various sort of products that are lying on a shelf. But that's all we are. We are just toothpaste, sabun ki batti, aata, आप जो मर्जी बोल लीजिए. मैं तो simply put, I think if you just get enamored to what's on the shelf, then you need to sort of relook at your value system because you don't respect the journey of the product till it got here. As we say ना कि आप पैकेट उठा के अगर बैक ऑफ द पैक नहीं देखते हैं तो आप फिर अच्छे कंज्यूमर नहीं हुए ना. So that's the only thing I tell people, that don't just respect the product, respect the journey it has taken to get here. You might take that journey in a shorter period of time, but there is no product without the journey.
हरपाल भाई, एक कहावत है ना इंग्लिश में, that behind every overnight success there is a 10-year struggle period.
right?
तो वो स्ट्रगल पीरियड किसी को नजर नहीं आता, लेकिन वो सक्सेस नजर आती है. लेकिन रणवीर, एक चीज और भी हो गई है आजकल सोशल मीडिया बूम आने के बाद, कि लोगों को बिना स्ट्रगल के भी ओवरनाइट सक्सेस मिलनी शुरू हो गई है.
Correct.
So I think, Himanshuji, I think what happens is we live in a world that's driven by marketing, and struggles are difficult to market. Success is easier to market.
Right.
Success is easier to market. So when you're living in a marketing driven world, you will those stories, ओवरनाइट सक्सेस पहले भी मिलती थी लोगों को. हम लोग सुनते थे ना कि वो शेयर मार्केट में वो यहाँ हो गया. But today, in this whole amplification machinery that we live in this whole marketing machinery that we live in, the success stories get amplified way louder than the joy of the struggle. That, I think, is also a big factor.
Yeah, I think that's very true. But you can't run away from it, Himanshu. The fact that the mediums that people use to become stars overnight are available, and we all look forward to creating this. Youngsters always look forward to creating such things that makes them stars overnight. But again, I think if you don't keep working on something that has created you star overnight, then probably you'll slip off, or you'll be probably like how you say in Bollywood, you're a one film wonder kind of a thing,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Chef, also, I mean, I have been calling myself very Desi at heart right from the time, whether I was a chef or I was a television chef. I'm still a television chef though. But, I mean, people believe that Chef Harpal is born out of a television. He's not born in a hotel. So do you come across these things?
Hey, I think it's we are we are in a country that believes in enamoring to the point of idolizing, and we like to create मतलब हम लोग को रियल स्टोरीज में मजा नहीं आता है ना. तो मैंने इसीलिए ये जो सेलिब्रिटी शेफ वाला स्पेस है हमारी कंट्री में इतना टाइम ले रहा है मैच्योर होने के लिए, बिकॉज हमको सेलिब्रिटी पता है और हमको ये पता है कि इनके मंदिर वंदिर बना दो, ये कर दो, वो कर दो. So, as celebrity chefs, people treat you more like celebrities, less like chefs. And that is, I think, it's the understanding that the society sort of has towards this genre, which needs to mature. And I sense it, I think all of us sense it, chef. जैसा आपने बोला, सब सेंस ये करते हैं कि अच्छा आप मतलब कोई घर पे खाना, अच्छा आप घर पे खाना बनाते हो. मैं कहा नहीं जी, मैं घर पे खाना नहीं बनाता, मैं बटन दबाता हूँ, खाना भगवान भेज देते हैं. So I think it is just the Indian nature of idolizing and over idolizing, putting people on a platform before anything else, that sort of is still maturing, and especially in the celebrity chef space. Because if you look at the West, the whole genre of celebrity chefs is it's food first. In India it is still fame first.
Correct.
हरपाल भाई एंड रणवीर, आप दोनों सेलिब्रिटी शेफ हैं, एंड आई एम नॉट अ शेफ. आई एम जस्ट ट्राइंग टू ब्रिंग इन एन आउटसाइड इन पर्सपेक्टिव दैट टुडे एनीवन हु हैज कम ऑन टेलीविजन and nowadays on OTT is considered a celebrity. और आज के टाइम पे when people have got wealth, then they can create their own shows and make it live on OTT platforms. Don't you think कि ये celebrity का जो tag है, ये पाना बहुत easy हो गया है, and that's why people are majorly focusing on becoming a celebrity instead of focusing on their craft.
Yeah, I think it's about chasing the sabun more than the process wala funding. I think it is just about वो चांदी, वो जो the silver wrapper around the soap becomes more important than what's inside the soap and the process that of the creation of the soap. So I am very hopeful though. I'm very hopeful because I see the next generation as more responsible. I see the 15, 16, 17-year-old kids as more real, more responsible, asking a lot of questions as well. So I I see this maturing. मुझे लगता है कि there are good times. Process है जी एक. मुझे that's what I feel. It's a process. We're in the middle of it. But we will mature to understand and appreciate that it takes a certain journey to get somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm very hopeful.
Yes, I think well, we see that Ranveer, that there are a certain set of people who are quite interested and going all out there, but there is a vast segment of people who want that celebrity status overnight. वो कहानी सबको वो जल्दी जल्दी वाली स्टोरी है, सबको जल्द 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 वाली चीजें चाहिए, छेती छेती जिसको पंजाबी में कहते हैं. एंड ऑल्सो रणवीर, आई मीन, मुझे याद है, आप भी उसी जॉनर के ही हैं. मुझे याद है कि हम और आप मिलके ऐसा क्या कर सकते हैं हिंदुस्तानी खाने के लिए, जो अभी तो काफी फेमस हुआ क्योंकि बहुत सारे बहुत ही बेहतरीन शेफ जिन्होंने, मेरे ख्याल से हम सब ने फूड फर्स्ट ही रखा है अपने आप में, फूड फर्स्ट रखा है उन्होंने. और क्या ऐसे कर सकते हैं कि लोग कहें कि भाई हिंदुस्तान ही आना चाहिए, स्पेशली इन दिस pandemic that is happening. We are saying that food of India has played a major role in protecting the country. Do you agree in this, or you see some merit in this?
No, I think Jeff, inherently, and all of us would agree that inherently the foundation of our cuisine is therapeuticness, is healing.
Yeah.
So because of that, जब आपके खाने का foundation is to heal, and purely because your food habits are constructed as medicine, तो वो तो हमारे DNA में ही है ना. The healing power of food is in our DNA. There is, अगर आप क्लासिकली कोई भी डिश उठा के देख लें और उसको ब्रेक डाउन करें तो हर चीज औषधि है.
Correct.
There is nothing that goes without any meaning in any of our classic recipes. Even if we were to just follow classic recipes as they are, in the right season with the right ingredients, you would stay healthy because the foundation of it is that. So उस foundation की वजह से, yes, our food is generally more aligned to well-being than most other cuisines. I'd say Chinese cuisine is probably the only other cuisine that can beat us to it in terms of being one with mindfulness, with the soul, and with well-being. But other than that, I think our food is truly out there. Um, Coming to Chef, what all of us can do, I feel, Chef, all of us, you know, I think there are so many aspects of Indian food that all of us should probably try and pick up one aspect and all of us talk about the same aspect at one go. Because there are so many aspects, I feel a lot of chefs, each chef picks up a different aspect and takes that tangent, which is great. But then there become a lot of great noises
Yeah.
instead of one big, one big noise. I think that's the only difference. And also, um the one thing that we can definitely do, and I think you are trying to do that, and a lot of us chefs are trying to do that, is take away the intimidation. The biggest thing that we can do is take away the intimidation. Us chefs have for a really long time put in intimidation with that white code. नहीं ये तो 24 घंटे में ही बन सकती है, नहीं इसमें तो 26 मसाले जाते हैं, नहीं ये तो आप घर पे बना ही नहीं सकते, नहीं इसके लिए तो ये चाहिए, नहीं उसके लिए तो वो चाहिए. You know, uh, now the more you intimidate, the more you're consolidating power to a select few. We need to democratize food. We need to pluralize food. We need to remove that intimidation and say, because I can do it, I am as average as you are, you can do it too.
Correct.
And there are so many people who are doing it. There must be a reason that they can do it too. I think that democratization, that pluralization of food is something that we can do together to take away the power from a select few.
And Ranveer, nowadays we have seen that many young or upcoming chefs focus on fusion food, while you are the one who has brought in our historical, tribal, or even indigenous food. Don't you feel that these indigenous or tribal foods can help us attain good health and better immune system rather than focusing on what fusion is providing us?
नहीं, हिमांशु जी, हर एक की ना जर्नी होती है. आई थिंक एवरी शेफ हैज अ जर्नी. तो जब हम 20 साल के थे, हम भी दुनिया एक्सप्लोर करना चाहते थे, फ्लेवर्स फ्यूज करना चाहते थे. आज मैं 42 साल का हूँ. आज मैं बैठ के ठहर के रिफ्लेक्ट करता हूँ अपनी लाइफ में, अपने ट्रैवल्स पे. आज मैं रियलाइज करता हूँ सिंप्लिसिटी की वैल्यू. आई थिंक एवरी शेफ हैज टू टेक हिज ओन जर्नी टू गेट देयर. All of us have gone through that journey of getting inspired, creating, fusing flavors. So I would say that it's every chef's individual. Sorry. So I would say that it's every chef's individual journey to take. But I definitely want to say कि journey के end में आपने आना यहीं पे ही है. So you might as well be mindful of what the end goal is. The end goal is simplicity, originality, authenticity. And authenticity doesn't mean the original recipe. Authenticity means the real you. That's what authenticity means.
No, coming to that, Ranveer, and the discussion we were just having prior to it, as we all know that Indian food has a lot of healing and therapeutic values. I mean, of late, you and I together, we all, and even Himanshu put together, we have all seen that in digital media, what trends is probably making jalebi in 5 minutes. So sometimes, do you agree to this, that when we say food as a healer and distorting the recipe to a 5 minute recipe which takes probably
तो हरपाल भाई ऐसा तो नहीं होता कि जलेबी बनाने में तो आधा ही घंटा लगा, लेकिन वीडियो को कट शॉर्ट करके 5 मिनट का कर दिया गया?
नहीं, हिमांशु हिमांशु ऐसा नहीं है. कहीं कहीं पे रणवीर ऑल्सो वुड एग्री कि कहीं कहीं पे हम देखते हैं कि 10 मिनट में हलवाई जैसे जलेबी बनाए. और मैं कई बार ऐसे बोल भी चुका हूँ माध्यम में कि सारे हलवाई जो है कढ़ाई में डूब गए होंगे. 10 मिनट में बनी होगी अगले की जलेबी, लेकिन वो थेरेपेटिक वैल्यू और वो जो हीलिंग फैक्टर की हम बात करते हैं कि लोगों ने जलेबी क्यों खानी है, भाई उसकी कुछ वैल्यू है इसलिए खानी है, और वो ओवरनाइट क्यों रखना उसका भी एक वैल्यू है. तो ये रणवीर, हाउ मच डू यू एग्री टू दिस काइंड ऑफ ट्रिक्स एंड ट्रेड्स?
So, मैं honestly, I feel that our food is bigger than all this. I hate to sound regressive, but I always say बड़े आए बड़े गए हमारे जैसे भी.
करेक्ट.
Indian खाना वही है, खड़ा है. तो जो proof is in the pudding. And our food has stood the test of time. It will continue to stand the test of time. People can build kingdoms on that food. Food is bigger than all of us. What we need to do, जैसा आप कह रहे हैं, what we need to do in platforms that we get, we need to convey the message that we believe in every chance we get. And I don't think it doesn't really worry me anymore. I honestly believe that our food is bigger than all this, but I definitely want to do my bit by sharing what I feel about stuff like that. And I say the same thing in my videos. I was like, you look at a food video these days, it sounds like you're watching a news channel. कि आज आपको बताएंगे कि ऐसी ट्रिक जिसके बाद आपका ये हो जाएगा, ये हो जाएगा.
I think that's absolutely right. The titles are so weird most of the time that you don't see the name of the dish at all.
So it's like you're watching a news channel. सनसनी खेज हो गया है हर चीज. But I believe that our food is beyond all this, chef. It is like, आप बनारस जाओ, मैं तो बनारस जाके मैं यही रियलाइज करता हूँ कि वो गंगा ने क्या क्या देखा है, शेफ. 6000 साल से बह रही है ना वहां पे.
करेक्ट.
तो वैसा मतलब उसे क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है कि किसने कितने वीडियो बना लिए और कितनी नाव चल गई उसके ऊपर, कितनी पिक्चर बन गई गंगा के ऊपर, घाट की कितनी फोटो खिंच गई. गंगा बह रही है. तो हमारा खाना वैसा है, बह रहा है, मतलब लोग हाथ धो रहे हैं. बट I think it's important to say for people like us, if it has given something and if it has made us realize something and if it has made us who we are, it's important for us to keep giving our message. That's us doing our duty.
And Ranveer and Harpal, I want to ask this from both of you. What are your experience
Yeah.
of carbon footprints on food on your plate?
Who goes first?
Please go first.
Okay, so according to me, I would say that today itself I was sitting with somebody, and we were talking seed plantation and water harvesting. Okay, and I was just thinking that how much it is important to balance out the very basics to protect carbon footprint is to understand soil conservation and to enhance the value of mother earth around in the country, which is very very important, because somewhere I believe, Himanshu, there is loss of ethics in a lot of us. Okay, and we believe that we don't want to give away something which is very important. We realize that only after a period of time and not at an early childhood stage, which should begin with every family. Okay, and every family should teach the value of food that is produced, cultivated by farmers, and respect that to such an extent that it is not lost. And at the same time, as I keep working, which I recently started working with, a lot of these people who are working in the tribal areas to conserve soil back and regenerate things for all of us, so that we actually protect and reduce the carbon footprint at the same time. I have realized that the education system will bring about the change, and it is very important for all of us. Like, through all my digital footprint that I have, I keep sharing knowledge, and I'm not so bothered whether those videos get the numbers that are required, but I am sure that the knowledge transfer that happens is immense, and that will help every one of us in India in time to come.
And Ranveer bhai, what are your views?
I think मुझे ये लगता है कि ये जो आंसर जो है ना, इट्स ओनली आंसर इज गोइंग बैक. द फैक्ट इज इट वाज ऑल व्हाट वेंट रॉन्ग, एंड more than why it went wrong, what went wrong. And I think if you turn the clock back 60 years, everything seemed to be all right. We were doing all right. The soil was doing all right. The air was doing all right. The water levels were doing all right. The earth was doing all right. There was no conversation about sustainability because it was a way of life. And there were you didn't hear of the word carbon footprint till the need of it existed. जब जरूरत पड़ती है तब हम वो टर्म्स कॉइन करते हैं. तो मुझे ये लगता है कि जो लाइक शेफ हरपाल से, ये दो चीजें, एक तो एजुकेशन बहुत मेजर रोल प्ले करेगा आने वाले समय में, और वो मजबूरी बन चुकी है आज की डेट में. दूसरी चीज, आई थिंक द अवेयरनेस एंड रिस्पेक्ट फॉर ट्रेडिशन, that is an extremely important part of um of keeping the planet, handing it over to the next generation in a way where we can be proud of it. मुझे ये भी लगता है कि हम लोगों को कहीं न कहीं अपनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी का एहसास तो है, लेकिन हम लोगों को ये नहीं पता कि हम उस बारे में क्या कर सकते हैं. A lot of us feel responsible but don't know what to do, because a lot of us, and I think that my message to people has been that you change what you eat and you'll change the world around. That's all you need to change. If all of us decide to eat responsible, to eat a lot of grains, go beyond wheat and rice, think of other grains at least once a week, eat some other grain in our plate, decide to eat local, decide to change the way we eat. If our plate looks different, the world will look different. And that is why I always say it's a very, very powerful profession to be in. ये सारे इकोलॉजिकल इकोलॉजिकल इश्यूज हैं, ये इकोलॉजिकल इश्यूज नहीं है, ये एग्रीकल्चरल इश्यूज हैं. 80% ऑफ, अगर आप ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस बोल रहे हैं, वी आर सेइंग एनिमल रेयरिंग इज अ बिग कॉज. इफ वी आर सेइंग सॉइल इश्यूज हो रहे हैं, वाटर इश्यूज हो रहे हैं हमारे, बिकॉज वी आर ओनली ग्रोइंग क्रॉप्स दैट आर nutrient that only draw certain nutrients and only draw water.
Agree with you.
We are
Agree with
not doing multi-cropping, we're only doing monocropping. Why are we doing that? Because we have created a demand for that.
True.
You change the demand, the earth will
I
change.
completely agree with you. और एक कहावत है ना, what you eat is what you are.
बिल्कुल.
लेकिन बहुत सारे challenges भी हैं जो हमारे सामने आते हैं जब हम देखते हैं कि unethical practices हो रही हैं.
Correct.
एग्रीकल्चर में खासकर, when we have seen that many times the bigger corporation are the bigger culprits. क्योंकि अगर आप देखें, सॉइल क्वालिटी अगर डिटीरियोरेट हो रही है तो अब वो हाइब्रिड सीड्स लेकर आ गई हैं और उनका फोकस है कि वो सिर्फ पर हेक्टेयर यील्ड प्रोडक्शन पे है, इंस्टेड ऑफ वरिंग अबाउट द लैंड और नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज. In this case, how should we empower our people about the things that they should keep in mind while buying the right produce from the market?
No, I think it's a Himanshu. I think the challenge is that we have made it yield dependent agriculture. The conversation is now yield. The conversation was never yield before the Green Revolution. we have made today, every farmer is more worried about per hectare yield more than anything else. If he buys a seed, the first thing that he will check is yield, because because quality is not what is in demand, quantity is what's in demand, because there are no advocates for quality. What needs to happen is advocacy for quality, nutrient values. Now, how do you get yield? We are talking about different gluten intolerances. How do you get yield? Let's say I give you wheat. How will you get yield? You will get yield only by giving something, increasing something in the seed that has volume. The most nourishing things have the least volume. Micronutrients have least volume. What has volume? Starch has volume. What has volume? So only thing that's happening is, in all our seed crops, what is increasing is the volume part of the seed, which is essentially non-nourishing, non-nutritious part. The micronutrients are not increasing. As a proportion, they are decreasing. Why was there no micronutrient conversation 30 years ago? Because the food was rich enough in micronutrients, because yield was just not a conversation. I think qualitative, creating a qualitative demand more than a quantitative demand is going to ensure. So I work with around 500 farmers down south in Chennai with an organization called Spirit of the Earth. We have converted more than 500 farmers, more than 1,200 acres, into non-popular seed growing farmers, non-popular rice growing farmers. What we assure them is that forget about the yield that you were getting. Tell us what price you were getting for that yield. We will give you the same price for this new crop. Because we can convince a certain set of people that you, even if you buy this for double the price, it's double the benefit. Now the conversation needs to change to a qualitative conversation from a demand perspective. The supply is only going to alter itself once the demand gets created.
So I think that's where the education also comes in. Key, what's in the plate, Himanshu. Many chefs like us, Ranveer, and all other senior colleagues and upcoming colleagues, I think we all have to tell people, this is also an alternative. Like recently, when I did tribal foods, and I realized that many of the foods that I cooked in my studio kitchen were growing around the highways, and they were just springing up for the rainy season, and they just vanish after the rainy season. So it's also quite important for all of us to share this thing, Himanshu.
I think that the only thing we need to do is to start a movement.
I'm sure Ranveer would also agree, and he's doing his bit, and we all are doing our bit, and that's how the whole thing is here, so that we have meaningful conversations, and spread this word across to the world through podcasts like this, and through mediums that we are involved in, so that the world actually comes to know that there's much more meaningful thing that can happen through food from India itself.
But don't you feel that when we are talking about ethical food practices, then we actually need to start a collaborative movement instead of starting an independent approach? You know, as because when we talk about advocacy, and when you are standing alone and advocating about something, and when the entire community talks about it, then this collaborative approach can have a bigger or larger impact.
Absolutely.
I think I would agree. I mean, what we all do together in our independent platforms, I think we have a note of that in our minds, and we all respect as what the other person does. And like Ranveer said initially, he did mention that, when I asked him that how together we can do. And India being such a vast country when it comes to cuisine, Himanshu, uh, for one person to actually master the art is difficult. I mean, Ranveer himself has done a fantastic art when it comes to reaching out across the country through his various television shows, which we have all watched. Bringing the fact that bringing the historical angle and the angle of science with food. I think I would give all that to Ranveer that he's done for the work of bringing the Indian food in the map of the country and the world. So I'm sure Himannshu, he has done the best work if you see through all the television channels.
I 100% agree to that.
You're very generous, Chef. You're very generous. Thank you for your time.
तो रणवीर ये बातें तो हुई सीरियसली. आई एम श्योर मेनी टाइम्स मेरे घर में भी आपकी बात होती है, और मैं और मेरी वाइफ जब बात करते हैं तो मेरी वाइफ हमेशा ये कहती है, अरे तू रणवीर जितना सुंदर नहीं है. तो रणवीर जी, मतलब आपको ये ऐसे जब बोलते होंगे तो अंदर क्या फूटते हैं लड्डू, बताइए.
मेरे को ना, मेरी एक बहुत अच्छी दोस्त है मरियम, शी इज अ फूड जर्नलिस्ट. वो बोलती है, रणवीर, यू नीड टू गेट अ प्लास्टिक सर्जरी डन, grow, like have disfigure your face so people can take your food seriously finally.
I mean, how much? अच्छा, one question, Ranveer, here is, पुराने जमाने में हम जब उस्तादों को देखते थे तो हमें वो उस्ताद लगते थे यार, हार्डकोर लोहे के जैसे होते थे वो. ठीक है, आजकल मुझे ये भी दिखता है कि हाउ मच ग्रूमिंग, as an individual, grooming is definitely very important in everybody's life, but how important is it in the life of a celebrity chef, I would say, of a celebrity chef?
Chef, I think it's very important. I think it's very, very important because अगर हर कॉन्वर्सेशन का प्रेमाइस ये है कि you are what you eat, और आप खाने को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं, तो आप खाने से होने वाले जो इफेक्ट्स हैं उसको भी रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं. You need to represent vigor, you need to represent energy, you need to represent what good food can do to people.
Yes, वो वाली कहानी है. फिर यहाँ वो बात आ जाती है रणवीर की, जो दिखता है ठीक से वो ज्यादा बिकता है. ऐसा होता है क्या?
Chef, I think what has happened, मुझे लगता है कि all of us are walking that fine line between staying true to our craft and कि मतलब रात को चैन की नींद सोने के लिए मुझे दिन में क्या करना चाहिए. It's a very fine line to walk every day, and all of us chefs are walking that fine line. I think unfortunately the mediums that are available to us are the same that are available to everybody, and hence we have to find that solace in the worldly ways, So how do you use these tools to eventually go to the night sleeping saying, no, I put a penny in the bigger picture?
Fantastic. Also, ये हिंदुस्तानियों को हम सबको आदत है रणवीर, हम सुबह उठते हैं, what does a देसी चाय mean to you?
जब मैं तो पीता ही नहीं चाय.
ओहो, फाइनली मुझे मेरे जैसा कोई मिला.
चाय नहीं पीते रणवीर?
नहीं शेफ, मैं तो पीता ही नहीं.
कॉफी?
मतलब चाय नहीं, कॉफी नहीं, सोडा नहीं, canned juices नहीं, nothing.
Fantastic. Thank you Ranveer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ranveer. It was wonderful having you on Shudh Desi Chai.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure, Chef. It was a pleasure, Himannshu. Thank you very much. All the best for all the enriching conversations that you're going to have with a lot of lovely people. Thank you.
We are sure कि ये एपिसोड सुनने का मजा तो जरूर आया होगा, और अगला एपिसोड सुनने का इंतजार भी हो रहा होगा. तो हम मिलेंगे अगले एपिसोड में एक और अमेजिंग गेस्ट के साथ. तब तक चाय का कप उठाएं और हमारे साथ जुड़ जाएं इंस्टा, फेसबुक और ट्विटर पे, और कुछ बिहाइंड द सीन्स फुटेज, लाइव गेस्ट इंटरेक्शन और हमारे होस्ट के साथ चाय भरी बातों की गाड़ी आगे बढ़ाएं. और हाँ, सुनते रहिए शुद्ध देसी चाय अपने पसंदीदा पॉडकास्टिंग प्लेटफॉर्म पे.